Hello and welcome to another episode of Wedflics. I'm Julia Braime, I'm your host, I'm the editor of Unveiled magazine and also the founder and editor of Brides Up North, the top UK wedding blog for northern couples. Today we are welcoming a true styling superstar to the show. It's Debbie Marks, the owner and head stylist at QUBE Events and Productions. Now Debbie is the master of making a boring function room look absolutely incredible, and she can work in any setting with any style of wedding. So today we're really going to tap into Debbie's expertise and get some tips for transforming your own wedding day. Hi Debbie, welcome to Wedflics.
Hi Julia, it's really nice to be here.
Lovely to have you. So do you want to get started straight away? We've got a lot to talk about today by introducing your business, QUBE Events and Productions, and telling us, how did it all begin?
Hi, well, thank you firstly for having me interviewed today. It's so nice to be on your channel. So QUBE Events and Productions are an event styling and decor company based in Manchester. We style all types of weddings. Over the year, we do about 300 events, all different sizes. I started the company probably 12 years ago now. I started the business from home. I've always been in events. I've got a background in quite heavily in corporate events, actually in the logistics, and it actually happened that I kind of fell into the wedding world, and I found a new passion for creativity. I never realized I was creative until I started planning events, and I actually started off as a planner, planning weddings, planning bar mitzvahs, quite big, large scale events, from the event planning side of things. And as I was going, my kind of creativity grew, and I was getting involved in some really exciting events where every event had completely different theme, lots of different ideas, and that's where my styling side grew, and my passion for the creative, and just literally coming up with something different. And I was never really one to kind of look at what other people were doing in the industry. I was just like, you know what, I want to create amazing weddings and amazing events, and pretty much anything's possible, and let's just try and find out like how we can do that and how we can achieve that. And through the events we style today, I'm all about making events, anyone who's organizing an event, making their life easy, their planning life easy. So I kind of adopted even though I don't like the term, the one-stop shop ethos, where brides and grooms can come to us and we can literally take care of every single thing for them for their wedding. In particular, all of the decor sides. So they could come to us for all their fresh flowers, so their bouquets, their buttonholes, the table centers, the table linens, the furniture, chairs, and then everything from lighting, dance floors, draping, literally the works. So like anything that you need to bring into your venue to make it look nice, like that's what we specialize in.
Yeah, so I would say, knowing you and had the pleasure of working with you a lot, you are the master of big events. So although you can do everything from small to larger, you really can. You know how to fill a space, you know how to dress an event. It's when you want something scalable, I definitely think QUBE are the people to come to. So you mentioned then some of the services that you offer to wedding couples. Is it literally just anything from floristry right through? How do the couples who come to you, how do they get started? What's the process?
Okay, so usually with when couples come to us, we really highly recommend that they book one of our free styling consultations. And what they'll do is they'll come in and see us. At the moment, we've been doing a lot of video calls, which I think we might continue doing, because people can, it's been proven that people can plan a wedding from home and plan all the styling side. So what we do is we have that consultation, and what we'll do is pretty much I'll get inside brides and grooms' heads and get to understand what's going on in there and what is to understand their vision for their wedding day. I actually had a really nice interview consultation yesterday with a bride, and she kept going, it's like you've jumped into my head, like you know exactly what you want, you really got my vision, you've got it. And because I'm styling weddings day in and day out, I know what works together, I know what pictures you're probably looking at on Pinterest. So what we'll do is when brides come in, I'll literally talk through the whole day. So we'll talk about the wedding ceremony and how that's going to look. I'll talk about the color scheme, and how that's going to come through your wedding. I talk about this, the wedding breakfast, what's going to go on your tables, and then all the big features. So it may be the big features and also the little details. So I cover everything of what does your cake table look like, and what's your post box table going to look like, and your table plan and your stationery that goes on the table. So everything kind of fits in and ties in together. And quite often when I'm doing my consultations, I will actually draw pictures and sketches as we're going along, and show you, just to give you an initial idea of what it's going to look like. And by the end of the consultation, you'll have a full vision of what your wedding's going to look like. And then we'll be able to do a off the back of that. And when we do our quote, because I quite easily get carried away and excited when I'm with brides.
Yeah, I can imagine the brides and grooms get very excited too. It sounds like an absolute dream day.
And I'm trying to like be realistic with brides and grooms, because everyone's not got an endless budget, and that's why I encourage brides and grooms to be honest with me and just say, look, if you've got an idea of your budget, let me know, because I can tailor it and help you get the most out of it. And sometimes a lot of brides and grooms don't have an idea of budget either, so that's where I can help steer them of what you can get for at different price points. But what we'll do is, when we do our quotes, we like literally break down everything that we've talked about in our styling consultation, like a shopping list. And we have like a funky quote system where brides and grooms can like tick and untick things, and it all adds it up at the bottom. And I put pictures in of every single thing that we've talked about, so they can remember. Because quite often when I'm talking about different things, brides always might not be able to visualize it in their heads. So it was a really nice reminder. And then very much once they've got their quote, it's a process of working together and getting it to where they need to be from a vision point, which is pretty much spot on when they get it, but it's more, I would say, financially, of getting to a price point that they're happy and that works for them, and where they want to move forward from there. And that's very much a two-way process, because we all get carried away in our styling consultations, and quite often you'll find that brides and grooms, they might get a quote, and it was because they didn't have an idea of their budget in the first place. It may come in double what they were actually expecting, because everyone has a budget at the end of the day. You don't know what you can get for your money, and that's where we're really good at working together with couples, because it may be that we provide a quote that came in double their budget, but we'll work with them to tailor it back and get the key elements of really important things that are going to give that impact. And it's having that knowledge of what is going to be the wow factor, what is going to be the key features that are going to be in your photos and the things you're going to remember after the wedding, and how to get that over to a wedding. Because I think a lot of girls, or you'll have ideas when you're growing up and you want this like magical wedding that's in your head, and it's being realistic of what's feasible and having those magic touches that we can bring through that you're going to love.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that through hiring a professional stylist such as yourself, you can advise them on how to achieve that vision within the parameters of that budget, because you know what's going to have the most impact, what pieces to spend the money on that is going to get you where you need to be, rather than little bits and bobs that you're kind of frittering on.
Yeah, definitely, exactly. And also, look, 'cause we see so many brides and grooms wedding pictures after, and we notice the pieces that stand out from it. So it may be like a feature backdrop that is at the end of your aisle, and then that can be reused behind your wedding breakfast. And I'm a big fan of reusing decor. And what I like to do is, when we style weddings, say literally everything on the wedding breakfast can be used on the aisle for the wedding. So it could be that you're having plinths down the aisle with centerpieces on top and a backdrop that's being repurposed, and you've got candles going all the way down the aisle that then get moved over to your table. So like, I'm a big fan of doing that, even if sometimes we do like big beams of flowers that go over people's heads, venues like Coleshaw and Merrydale, where they've got the beams over the aisle. We can take those beams off and put them on your top table afterwards. And so it's a really, really, really good way of kind of making good use, I suppose, of your budget.
Yes, it's also a really nice way to reduce waste as well on a wedding day, if anyone's eco-conscious or thinking things through in that way. I like that. I like the reusing. Saves money, saves the planet.
Yeah,
to an extent.
Yeah,
what elements then should a couple be considering when they're planning the styling of their day? What all the different elements that they can bring into it? So floristry, linens.
Yeah, so there's lots of different things to think about, and I would kind of start, when you think about your wedding, I would think about the journey that your guests are going to have when they come to the venue. So when they're arriving, like, what do they see? So it might be a nice welcome sign on arrival. It may be flowers around the entrance of the building. And then they come in, it may be an entrance hallway. So you might want a big feature piece for people to look at with all the details going around. And then as they go into the ceremony, it's really kind of having that wow factor of imagining yourselves walking down the aisle and what they're going to see. So it could be what the chairs look like, what then a carpet going down the aisle, petals or scatter or candles or lanterns, the registrar table, what does that look like? What's the backdrop going to be like for your ceremony, and when you're actually stood there together getting married, what's it going to look like behind you? And obviously the lighting in that element is also a huge part of the styling of the day. And then kind of moving on, you've got your drinks reception, usually you would go on to after that. So it may be that you want poser tables with a nice cloth on and a little bit of flower detailing. Maybe you want a big featured table plan that's going to give people a little taster of what's to come when they get into the wedding breakfast. So it's looking at all the elements. It might even be that there's a bar in the reception area and you want some flowers to go on the bar that tie in with everything. And then when it comes to your wedding breakfast, looking at the whole room as a whole, obviously you've got table centers and linen. Top tables, I love creating features with top tables, whether it's a sweetheart table or a long top table or an oval table. There's so many fun things that you can do with a top table, and I'm a big fan of big featured top tables, whether it's like flowers over your head or trailing down the front of the table, or a giant tree if it's a big central top table. So there's
lovely,
there's so many options with that. Also with your wedding breakfast, you may have the cake in the same room, so it's looking how we can decorate around the cake. Quite often we'll put fresh flowers onto cakes as well, or if your particular cake maker wants to do the flowers themselves, we'll provide them with the flowers and then they can dress the cake themselves. It depends on it. We've dressed lots of cakes, so we are happy to do that for you. And then also on the tables you've got the stationery, so in terms of place cards, table numbers, and it's really nice to tie in all the signage at your wedding together so it all matches. So whether it's your table plan, your wedding, all of those little details tie in. Some cute little signs as well. Always love a cute little sign, getting people to sign a guest book or sweet treats or whatever it is. And then after your wedding breakfast, you're coming on to your evening and looking at how you can make your evening spectacular. And sometimes it's nice to make your evening slightly different to your wedding breakfast. So you're taking people into that party environment, creating a real party or a kind of club vibe for the evening. So for that element, that side of things, we can bring things like LED dance floors, and we've been doing a lot of mirrored dance floors recently, which are really fun, or seamless dance floors where we put brides and grooms logos onto the dance floor. So yeah, we've been experimenting with lots of different types of dance floors, so it's nice to do something different, and that's one big feature that can really make your wedding stand out from everyone else's. And some of the bigger weddings we do have the dance floor in situ the whole day, so it's a really nice focal point for everything else that's going on. Then to the evening we can do a quirky DJ booth, so whether it's like a glittered DJ booth, or we'll bring in sequin tablecloths that you may have not had in the day, but we'll have it for the evening, and then your tables get moved over, so it kind of gives you a bit more of a glitz and glam vibe for the evening. And then we've got things like photo booths or fun photo walls or quirky sweet buffets or prosecco walls or donut walls. Literally the list goes on.
Wow, Debbie, I mean, I'm not planning a wedding here and I'm getting excited. I'm racking my brains trying to think. I think it's my 40th next.
Yeah, that's great. An amazing 40th.
So I'm like, oh my God, a bride and groom, or groom and groom, bride and bride, your couple's coming to see you, must be so, I can see how people get carried away because they'd be so excited by this. Your knowledge is absolutely immense. I have to say, it blows my mind how much there is to think about and how you can help couples through that process. It is incredible. I am a big fan of a big wedding, and I'm also a big fan of through the day, like you talked about, the sort of demarcation of the sections of the day. I think that's a really nice way to keep excitement peaking throughout the day so that everyone sort of stays stays on it, if you know what I mean, with the celebration. People don't get jaded with the long day, because the wedding is a long day, can be.
I like to see it as like you're taking your guests on a journey throughout the day, and there's the surprises as you go on, through each element of bringing something new and putting a twist on each element of the day to just keep building excitement and surprises. And we work with a lot of couples to do that, even like quirky, like gimmicky things that may be brought out on their dance floor later on in the evening, just like little fun touches that make it special.
I think the thing is, I think it's great when you're styling a day. I think it's nice to remember, you know, all the perfect bits, so like the florals and the lighting and stuff that make it look beautiful. But like you just said, I think it's also the things people remember for a day are the quirky and the sort of out there bits and bobs that you know, people maybe haven't seen before, or a bit of fun. People are there to have fun, essentially. So you shouldn't kind of sacrifice fun at the expense of style. Do you know what I mean by that? Although if you can marry the two, that's like the perfect mix. I'm a big fan of a reveal. So after the drinks ceremony, if you have space at your venue in a certain area, to, you know, have your wedding breakfast kind of curtained off or in a separate room, and to kind of do that big reveal that people maybe don't know where it is, and then, you know, you have like a curtain drop or curtains come back to music and maybe a bit of dry ice, that sort of thing. I love that kind of, and that really kind of, it's okay to lift the party as you go into your wedding breakfast, isn't it? You don't have to wait till the evening for that. You can kind of lift it with music and lighting and sound, and some of the get everyone excited.
Some of the venues we work with have got reveals before their dance floor and their evening areas, so it's really nice to kind of get the bride and groom on the dance floor, ready for their first dance, and then the reveal goes up, and it may be that we've designed like an amazing like floral chandelier or something that's hanging down over their heads, or the stage where the DJ or the band is, we put florals all along the front of it, which may have been reused from the ceremony, but it's just keep bringing those special touches in. And guests don't often realize that actually that piece of decor actually appeared earlier in the wedding, but it makes your wedding look more lush, and especially in the photos as well, it gives you amazing photos.
It's great to keep that continuity for the photos and for the styling, and then just drop bits in, like say like a saxophone player, or, you know, just bits like that to kind of just lift the different elements of the day. So would you be there then if a couple hire you to, how does it work? So you talked about the shopping list earlier, once you've had your consultation. So after that consultation and the shopping list, is it usual that that couples hire you to be there for on the day for the whole day to do that kind of structural changing, and do you run the day for them? How does it work with your involvement?
So when people book with us, it's like brides and grooms, it's really important. Like service is like key to us, and we're all about kind of holding brides and grooms' hands like right through as much as possible. So what we actually do is everyone who books with us gets their own wedding kind of coordinator with our team. So my colleague Kim, she's absolutely amazing, and what we do is just before, we'll bring them in for a final details meeting. So about 6 to 8 weeks before the wedding, they've got the opportunity to come and see us in our event studios, and they've also got the opportunity to see mock-ups of their centerpieces. So we've got banqueting tables, and we'll set everything up for them so they can see what it's going to look like on the day, so there's no surprises. And at that point, if they want to tweak or change anything to their decor, or they want to add any different elements, we can do that as well. And then on the day, you have a dedicated setup team that are with you pretty much most of the day. So what we'll do is we'll be there like first thing in the morning of your wedding. So what we'll do is we'll come and deliver your bouquets to you. We'll actually teach you how to hold your bouquets as well, which is a big thing, because I've seen in the past, and actually I did this for my own wedding, and I didn't do weddings when I got married, but I got a video of me walking down the aisle and I'm holding like my bouquet like up here and I like cringe at it every time I see it now. So that's a big thing for me now. I teach everyone how to hold their bouquets when we do weddings. And then what we'll do is we'll set up after your wedding ceremony. Then after your ceremony, we'll move all the decor to your wedding breakfast. I find a lot of venue dressers will actually just set up the ceremony and leave it to the venues to move everything. But obviously we're dealing with quite often quite big decor, and we want to make it sure it's perfect for you more than anything. So we'll always stay through to the wedding breakfast, make sure all the candles are lit and everything's perfect. depending on how much couples have booked, and what we'll do in the evening. Obviously, if we're doing dance floors or other elements in the evening, then we'll stay later on to the wedding. If not, quite often we'll leave once you've sat down for your wedding breakfast. And then what we will do is we'll come back at the end of the night, most occasions on the end of the night or first thing the next morning, and we'll clear all your decor up, which is, I think, the best thing, because the last thing that you want to do on your wedding day is having to start clearing things up at the end of the day. And it's, I find that one of the kind of the biggest things is, especially for brides who think, oh, you know what, I'm going to decorate my wedding myself, or I'm going to do it myself. That's the one thing that they regret doing, because on the morning of your wedding, it's like a hot, sweaty job setting up an event, and we feel like we've had a proper workout once we've done it.
Yeah, it also takes like I have experience of that through my own events and through styling for shoots, and it actually takes a lot longer than you would think, and it takes professionals a long time as well. So if you're not professional, you don't know how to do it already, it's going to take you double the time, triple the time.
Yeah.
And one thing you do not want to be on your wedding day is stressed about timings.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a big thing. And what we'll do is, like, we do all the logistics for you as well. So we'll contact the venues, we'll find out when we can go into the venue, when we can come out, so you don't actually need to worry about any of it. So on the day, you just be able to walk in and everything's done for you. So it comes back to that kind of making life easy for people. Like, literally everything is taken care of and you don't need to worry about anything. Some weddings we offer an on-the-day planning service. So if you want somebody to take care of the whole element, because my background is event planning, and that's what I've been doing my whole life. So I'm a really experienced wedding planner, and throughout the year I actually plan a lot of weddings for brides, a lot of high-end weddings, and with those weddings, they're usually kind of, well, between 150 to 200 guests, sometimes smaller, sometimes more, but it's more the brides and grooms that book us for the wedding planning they maybe have a teepee in their back garden, and they're not at a venue where there might be a wedding coordinator. Or sometimes we've done one before where you just got lots going on throughout your day. So maybe you have loads of entertainment coming in, and lots of surprise acts and different things, and you need someone to pull it all together and make it happen. So that's what we do, where we'll do the planning beforehand, but on the day we'll run everything for you. And I'm literally like the first person there on the day to the last person there at the very end of the night, just making sure that literally every single detail is taken care of. So that option is there for people as well.
Yeah, so that's probably a bit of a difference between your company and others, in that you offer all the styling elements, but you also offer the planning as well, and they can kind of pick and choose what they want from that. Okay, so a bit of fun stuff then.
Yeah.
So you love helping couples express their individuality, and I think at your warehouses you have literally like every single styling theme and prop and flower that there's possible in your amazing store. So if I give you a couple of bridal styles, could you tell us how you might style a wedding for each type?
Yeah.
So some of the kind of more popular ones at the moment. Maybe suggest like a couple of props and florals, colours, that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course, love to.
Cool. So how about starting off with classic wedding styling?
Okay, so for classic, I think, well, a lot of people love a white wedding. And with a white wedding, it's kind of bringing really nice big centerpieces. So it may be nice domes of floral centerpieces, nice wedding arches, but really like tightly packed, nice wedding, and lots of candlelight comes in really nicely for a classic wedding. And it's looking at all those traditional elements. So you might have just a beautifully styled bouquet. There might be nothing like kind of out of the ordinary, but everything just looks amazing. So yeah, it's bringing all of those different elements in. And I would say we do a lot of centerpieces with fresh and silk flowers, but you can get some beautiful pieces that work both ways with the classic.
Yeah, when you've got a lot of florals, and I love a lot of florals, a really nice way to do it is, I think silk flowers have got a bit of a bad rap really, because they were bad, but now silks are really good, aren't they, if you're buying quality. And to kind of flesh out your bouquets with silks, and then add the fresh on top, and to lift it, and for scenting and things like that, that's a really nice way to actually save quite a lot of money if you want to really get that floral impact, isn't it?
Yeah, for centerpieces, like I'm a big fan of having fresh bouquets, bridal bouquets, but for table centerpieces, you can have such big impact with silk florals, and it's 3 times cheaper than fresh flowers. And again, if you're it's very sustainable as well. If you're conscious of that, and we're getting that asked by brides and grooms a lot more. And I used to be completely like anti silk and artificial flowers, and these like foam flowers that used to be around. But now the quality is so amazing and it's so realistic. And I'll often get asked by people like, "Is that real?" And they have to touch it to see the difference. And that's a kind of testament of like how good it is.
It is. I've definitely tested your flowers on shoots before to see if they're real or fresh. I think the sustainability point's a big one as well. Everyone is so hot on that these days, which is a great thing. And I think it's a nice way to remember that actually you can achieve the look you're going for whilst whilst ticking that box
and
as well.
It doesn't need to be seen as a cheap thing that you're having flowers. We do like some of the biggest weddings, some big celebrity weddings, all in silk flowers. And some of those pictures and those amazing pictures that you've seen, the flowers are all silk.
I definitely don't think of it as a cheap thing. In fact, I think it's because I would marry it with your sort of styling. It's impactful rather than cheap, even though it is cheap.
Yeah. If you were to do it in cheaper, like if you were to do it in fresh, it will cost you a lot more to do it.
Like tens of thousands.
Yeah.
For there you go. Okay, so that's your classic wedding then. How about flipping that on its head and going for something more modern and urban?
Okay, so modern urban. So a lot of venues that we work with for that kind of thing are like Victoria Warehouse, venues like 1830s where there's lots of brickwork, Holmes Mill, and lighting is massive for urban weddings. So really making use of the space, whether there's columns in the venue that you can have fairy light columns or quirky backdrops. Again, candlelight works really nicely. In urban environments, lighting, things like light up letters or, with backdrops with neon signs on them work really nicely in urban environments. Greenery also works really nicely in urban, especially tropical foliage looks amazing. So bringing the tropical, and I'd say like having all green and no flowers works really nice as well. And bringing it in together with like copper tones as well, so even all geometric shapes as well, so whether it's a terrarium and succulents and or a copper light or Edison bulbs, those elements work really nicely.
I also like a bit of kind of dried florals at the moment. That's sort of like Australian look, so like lunaria
grass and everything.
Although I don't know, maybe we're moving on from that trend a little bit now. Okay. Well, okay, so boho. So that's kind of going down that path, isn't it? The boho rustic. I was maybe putting that in the wrong section. So for a boho rustic wedding, what would you suggest?
So I would say with a rustic-y wedding, it's bringing lots of woods, lots of natural elements through it. It's kind of like bringing the outdoors in when it comes to the boho rustic element. And you can be quite cool and trendy with it as well. So for example, it may be at the end of the aisle, we do a backdrop that's made up of lots of different shaped triangles that's got a bit of foliage on it, or lots of candles around the bottom. It may be that you're bringing like massive green trees into your wedding, but around the bottom of it, you've got lots of logs at different heights, entwined with candles. And even like with the rustic route, there's, depending on the time of year with your wedding, you could go down different avenues with it. So if you're having, say, a wedding in autumn, you could go down the autumnal route and have autumnal trees on your tables entwined with like pumpkins and squashes.
Love that.
And like just putting a different element onto it and using the richness of the colours of that time of year throughout your whole day.
I love what I've seen you do with the seasons. You styled at one of our big wedding shows at Titanic Hotel Liverpool recently, and we did a table for each season. And I loved your autumn table with the red leaves, almost like a little maple leaf type tree.
That's one of my new favourite pieces of decor.
Beautiful, beautiful. You know, to have a whole room styled with red, sort of tall red trees on every table would look absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
And
and
you
they hang
also do,
like candles from them as
yeah,
well.
it's gorgeous. Really, really, really striking. And you also do something really cool with the purple wisteria trees, kind of for the flip side of the season, for this sort of time of year, like May. You do a lovely sort of silk wisteria, don't you? And that also fits within that styling bracket. So sort of relaxed florals for a rustic.
Yeah, like wisteria is gorgeous, and there's so much that you can do with it. And I love doing it over a top table where you've got like a long frame that comes over the table. And you're talking about our lilac wisteria, which is
yes.
Which is amazing, kind of hanging down. But we've got it in ivory and white and pink as well. And it's just beautiful because it's just that whole hanging element of things. But you can bring that in so many ways, whether it's an arch and you've got hanging things coming through the arch or over the front of your top table. It's just kind of very wispy and it's light, but you can get away, like if you don't want your wedding to look too over the top.
No, I would want my wedding to look over the top.
Yeah, yeah, we can do over the top as well. Lots of over the top.
Yeah, we like over the top here at Unveiled, but done in a cool way. Cool way. How about then a super glam wedding?
Okay, so glam wedding focus on the feature pieces that you're going to have at your wedding and the big statement pieces. So again, it could be you're going to want an amazing aisle with lots of tall pieces going on, lots of big backdrops. It maybe you have like an unbelievable like floral archway that goes over you as when you get married, or a custom made arch that's got orchids trailing all over it. Orchids are great for glam weddings. So it could be you're having like a really gorgeous teardrop orchid shower bouquet.
Beautiful.
Or you're having over your tables, you could have individual orchid hanging floral chandeliers over individual tables with candles underneath, or ones with lots of hanging globes. There's lots of different elements that you can have, but I'd say if you want glam, like bigger the better. With it,
yeah, things like crystal I love the crystals you do with the orchids, the gold pieces that you do.
Yeah, like gold is really coming in now, like it's coming back big time, gold. And gold and ivory looks really nice together. Even bringing like say an ivory velvet tablecloth with gold cutlery and glassware edged with gold rims and charger plates with either gold beading or gold edging on them, tied in with centerpieces that bring touches of gold through them. So it may be just a tall frame that's on the table it's quite thin with the gold frame on it, but you've got a big tower of orchids like tumbling over the top of it with candles hanging down. Yeah, it can look gorgeous with those touches.
How about something super girly like pretty pastel pinks? Something that I really liked.
Yeah, I know you like your pink.
Not all girly over here. You know,
Every time I do something pink or with blush, you're like, oh, I love that. Yeah, so I really love a blush tablecloth. We actually call it candy floss, and it's really soft and pretty, and it's a bit of a lighter shade than a baby pink, and it's really, really pretty. That tied in with even some blush peonies, and we've actually got some gorgeous silk blush peonies which are amazing. So ivories and blushes, and that's a colour scheme that I get asked for all the time, and I think it's something that's never going to go away, and it's going to always look amazing, and you can't go wrong with it. So buying that in with candles, even like soft draping over the back of your chairs, whether it's fabrics like weaved in and out of the chair or over the top tied in with like a blush peony on the back of your chairs. There's so many kind of gorgeous like pretty touches that you can do with that.
Yeah, I would say that kind of that colour scheme is kind of like recently it's been less cool in inverted commas, and it's not something we would have necessarily have shot for Unveiled recently, but when I saw it done by yourselves at I think it's National Wedding Show, I saw it, I just fell back in love with it, and I'm all about kind of pretty soft romantic environments, and I think we were sort of ready for it. I think we were ready for a return to actually that sort of vibe. But yeah, loving your work on that for sure.
Yeah, trying it in with like kind of having a bit of like a quirky edge to it now, so taking like a soft pink charger plate and using that on the table, or bringing gold elements works really nicely. And the geometric trend that's in now, that works really nicely, whether it's through the stationery or through different elements, or having a geometric centerpiece on the table works really nice with the blush.
Yeah, that's kind of moving the pastels on from that sort of like pretty peony look. It kind of, well, you can keep the peonies, but it kind of moves it on from that sort of girly look to something, I describe it as like an Oliver Bonus look, which is wrong to kind of describe it with a brand name, but it's kind of the juxtaposition of the pastels with the sort of gold geometrics that you'd see in a shop like Oliver Bonus. But it's this is what Debbie has to contend with when we work together on shoots. I'm thinking Oliver Bonus.
I just throw all the weird things.
And I give you that idea and you run with it, and then you get it right. So that's why you're good at what you do. Let's finish off by saying minimalist modern. That really minimalist white. You know, what the sort of perspex and stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so like perspex is actually really huge at the moment. So it could be on your tables, it may be that you have an acrylic candelabra with floating candles in it, or going down, I imagine going down the aisle, you've got acrylic candelabras like lining the aisle with like white petals, acrylic plinths. So it's kind of like, it looks like everything is floating, but it's crisp and clean. Everything is like pure white, and you've got it's done like less is more kind of style, but there's actually quite a lot there that's giving you the impact, but it's done in a stylish way with maybe lots of clear glass. So it may be on your table or on your entrance you have an acrylic welcome sign that might be like brushed at the back with white, but it's got really thin gold writing. And on the tables you're tying it through on the tables through the way that you do your table numbers or your place cards, all in a kind of acrylic, but it's just crisp and clean and white, and it's very kind of pure and elegant at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a lovely look. Is anyone else really excited about planning their wedding right now?
Yeah,
I'm not going to imagine anyone.
That look works really nicely with green. So just greens and whites can be really crisp. And a big trend right now is actually bringing black into that theme.
Oh yeah.
So whether it's a black lantern going down the aisle, or some stationery that's slightly edged with black, or some candlesticks on your table. Candles or coloured candles are huge right now. So just single candlesticks with a coloured candle, just to bring like a pop of colour through to your wedding is really nice.
When you're talking about black as well, you're talking about sort of matte black, aren't you? Like sort of like opaque acrylics with matte blacks and fine lines, almost like it's been inked on. I think that's such a good look. So we may as well move on to trends then. So trends for, I was going to say 2020, if we can get any events under our belt this year, fingers crossed. We're obviously filming this during the lockdown period in the UK, but we are looking ahead. And as Debbie said, there's no need to stop planning and styling. You can do all that via video call and get really excited about your wedding. This has been so uplifting today. I'm sure a lot of brides and grooms couples will be really itching to get going after today's chat. So trends for this year and next, where are we with things? I mean, we already touched on a few things, but what would you say if we go through the sort of like colours, what would be your top colours coming up?
I'd say there's a few colours that are not going to go away, but I think gold is actually going to be big, and I think gold but with a tropical twist to it is going to be big. So bringing palm leaves, like tropical big palm leaves and things into weddings. So whether it's through a backdrop or through a centerpiece, but tying that in maybe with orchids and with candles. Do
you think that's because no one's able to go on holiday right now?
I don't know.
It's like, all of a sudden.
It's starting to come in before lockdown happened. But maybe that will encourage people to go more that way, because that trend is also going over to the green. Obviously, like green has been huge, and it kind of all started kind of back with like Kate when she bought those big trees into her wedding for the royal wedding, and it just kind of got bigger and bigger kind of as the royal weddings have gone through, and that green has kept coming in. And I think it's some days it's more or less flowers and more greenery, and more greenery the better, and then moving that greenery in, tying it in with lights as well. So whether it's a green chandelier with lights coming through, but now it's the greenery is going more tropical. So I think it's going to move to another level of greenery.
Yeah, so sort of moved away from that sort of like potting shed feel, if you know what I mean, through from like English through to tropical.
Yeah, a bit like behind me, my tropical backdrop with my orchids.
Gorgeous. Right on trend. So colours, we're thinking gold, we're thinking tropics, anything, and you talked about the whites, the acrylics.
Yeah, I think the blush is going to carry on coming, but in a kind of quite a big way. And I also think bright colours as well, in terms of like jewel tones. So and it may be for example, like a navy tablecloth, and working with different textures where you might bring that in with hot pinks and like bright kind of greens, and it's kind of fuchsias. So it's kind of bringing those strong colours and playing with textures and different looks that way. And I'd say to people, like, don't be scared to have fun with colour at your wedding. And also I'd say in some ways we can make anything work. I actually styled a nice wedding yesterday, which was royal blue and coral.
Oh wow. Which
is kind of comes into the Pantone colours that we've had over the past 2 years. But it's going to be really striking, and it's taking those bright colours and thinking, well, what can you do with those in a stylish way? Because there's a fine line between it looking like tacky and garish and looking stylish. So it's working with those colours and using them in the right way. And that's why I think it's so important for people to work with people that know what they're doing, because you can go so wrong with it. And it's that's what I help couples with, of getting those visions from their head of those colour schemes, but delivering that in a stylish way.
Yeah, done right, it could look so good though, can't it? Theming then, we touched on the tropical thing. So themes wise, I mean, when we get real brides on our blog and in our magazine, they often say, oh, we don't really have a theme, and then outline their theme. So you know, it doesn't have to be kind of like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
What sort of themes or undercurrents are coming through?
Okay, so disco is quite a fun one. That's coming through at the moment. So lots of mirror balls, or mixing mirror balls with florals. We're planning a nice wedding at the moment we're actually doing a 5-meter chandelier, which is all like florals going around, hanging orchids, but it's going to have lots of mirror balls hanging in between it, all different heights, mirror balls on the tables along the front of the top table. We have giant 6-foot light up letters, which are really fun because you can sit inside the letters and have some amazing photos with them. But having like stacks of mirror balls at the bottom of it, and taking like taking a little detail but bringing it through your wedding. And it could be like a random thing like pineapples, and you could have little touches of that one thing that takes that theme through your wedding, but as long as it's done in the right way, it can look amazing.
I love that. Something that, you know, it kind of means something to you as a couple, whether it's like butterflies or I don't know, cinema or something like that, and kind of like or a place you visited, or
definitely
something special to
you. Even like sometimes for like a really quirky bride, having, or not necessarily quirky, but brides that want to do something modern and slightly different, even bringing like neons into your wedding, like the bright neon colours tied in with black and the right kind of florals, and maybe touches of like the mirror balls, and kind of done in the right way, it can look amazing.
Yeah, and it's definitely something friends and family will enjoy and remember as well, and they'll be like, oh, that's really cool. And you know, just because you're on Pinterest the whole time doesn't mean your friends and family are. And you know, it's kind of it's surprising people, really, isn't it? And then okay, cool. So florals then. So what flowers are popular at the moment? So we've touched on peonies.
Yeah, like you've got your kind of classics that are always going to be there, like peonies and roses. There's so many different varieties of roses that you can have. Like David Austin roses are absolutely beautiful. And I think like the wild look is always going to be in. So with lots of like eucalyptus, or it looks like that you're going to kind of pick up a bouquet out of a field kind of look. So it's really kind of loose and messy. It's really pretty.
Yeah, I love that look for like a summer marquee.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that wildflower look. Almost sometimes as well as if like the wildflowers are kind of growing up out of the installations. I think that's a beautiful.
Yeah, I love
look.
it when we do like a top table and we do it so it looks like it's like growing out the floor, kind of up,
Yeah,
up the
beautiful.
table and things like that. Looks amazing.
Yeah, it's like an English country garden thing. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, and also bringing like herbs as well into your flowers. So you've got lots of gorgeous scents. Like eucalyptus, obviously, it has got an amazing scent to it, but we can actually bring kind of like thyme and rosemary and actual herbs into your flowers or onto your tables in like terracotta pots as well. And like, it's just another kind of, I suppose that is kind of a theme as well, like a botanical theme. You could go down that route for your wedding. So there's lots of actual, like, if you're having a theme, it doesn't need to mean that it's going to be tacky or you're going to think, oh, you know, theme is going to be Superman theme or whatever.
Absolutely not.
You can have,
it's just about cohesion.
Yeah, you can have really stylish themes as well.
Yeah, and it's fun as well. You know, we talked about that fun element. It's fun to like sort of tie that in with different things. So yeah. I don't know, if you had a loose kind of jungle theme, which sounds atrocious for one, but could be really cool.
You can have a mega jungle theme wedding.
Like bringing some prints in and you know, some of the like the first dance could be something cool along that theme. I don't know, just
bringing some neon signs in with that as well. You can have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, like nothing's too out there, and actually it's that sort of thing, if done right, because it's really important you do that right, then it would be really cool and memorable. And then props, what props are really super popular at the moment, and what's the new thing in the prop world?
I think quirky table plans are quite big at the moment. So lots of kind of big frame table plans or big frames with acrylic in them. Also creative like photo areas. So for example, we did a winter wedding and we themed it with like a New York kind of style park bench with like snowy Christmas trees, like not snowy, like wintry trees around it. So you've got like really quirky display areas that you can do around your wedding. Always love a big wishing tree. And when I say wishing tree, I think like sometimes people think, oh, like a little twiggy thing sat on the table. I don't mean that. I mean like an 8 foot or 9 foot tall tree, 8 foot wide with loads of flowers and candles hanging off of it, and then you can use it as a table plan, and then you can also use it as a wishing tree where you write messages on cards, and then what we do is we give you, with our wishing trees, we give you like a souvenir box to take home with all the cards in, and we give you all
really nice touch.
And it is really cute, but it's also quite a cost-effective piece of decor to have, because you've got a massive feature piece that people are going to have photos with, you've got your table plan and you've got your wishing tree all like in one thing.
Talking of trees, one thing I think I saw you do recently, which I loved, was Christmas trees. So like for a winter wedding, like install almost like a little kind of indoor forest. That was you, right?
Yeah, it was. We did it at Heaton House Farm, and what we did is at the whole entrance, it was amazing, which we lined the whole entrance with kind of just like frosted like alpine trees, so they were adorned with snow. And along the bottom we had snow all around the bottom of the trees and logs and things, and it just made amazing photos.
There'll be quite a few brides and grooms who have perhaps had to vacate their summer dates this year, and they'll be moving to autumn winter. So I think some of the things we've touched on today are, you know, and they're thinking how to like change their styling or adapt their styling, and that thing with the trees is lovely. And also we talked about like the red trees, stuff like that, like, you know, that they can add in, or they could have a chat with you about changing things up a little bit and working with maybe things they've already booked or bought. Or
definitely. And it's adapting we've been doing this quite a lot with couples, of just adapting their original vision, and some ways taking it to new ideas. And quite often people are actually getting nicer weddings or slightly different weddings than they originally had planned, and it's something different. We've been working with quite a lot, because as a company, we're able to manage more than one wedding on a day, because we have a big team, and we only send one team to one wedding a day, so they're with you for the whole day. But some of the smaller companies haven't been able to do those multiple bookings, so when they rearrange to their new dates, we've had a few brides and grooms come to us, and then I quite often get the comment of, oh, we didn't get this before, or we didn't get this kind of service, or this and that, and it's really nice that I can really make what might have been a bad situation in terms of, oh, it's disappointing that you're going to have to cancel your date or rearrange, to something really exciting. And like, we have these really exciting conversations, and I kind of re-look at what their original vision was and take it up a few notches, and make it really amazing. And
that's nice.
And brides and grooms just get really excited because it gives them like something to look forward to again.
And it's like a silver lining, isn't it, to the situation? And you are going to have that day, but it's going to be even better when you do. And everyone's going to be really excited for the day when it actually happens as well. One thing about you, Debbie, and about your team, whenever I've come into contact with another member of your team as well, you're always so enthusiastic. I think that's coming across in this conversation today. Like, the passion is there and the passion is real, and you're not jaded. I mean, you work ridiculously long hours, antisocial hours, and carrying heavy pieces of kit around all the time. And half the time I think, how are they so chipper? Like, you guys, you just clearly love what you do. Is it like the delivering of the wedding, making people happy, that inspires you, or is it the creative process, or is it a bit of both?
It's a bit of both. I'm really fortunate to have like amazing team, and that's the really important, like with the team that work with us. They're super passionate about what they do, and they care about different things, and like constantly, like, we're questioning, like, what's that written on that quote, like, is the warehouse team gonna be making it so it's exactly what the bride and groom wants? And it's like our team are like kind of being there gunning for the bride, just making sure that they can do absolutely everything that they can to make sure that it's perfect on the day. And it's so nice for me to see my team doing that as well, because that's what makes a difference. And especially the feedback and the testimonials that we get from our couples, it's amazing. Like, if you have a look at all the reviews that are on our Facebook page, they literally go on and on and on. My favourite bit is when I see a bride and groom walk into their room for the first time, and quite often we get happy tears, like we get hugs, and it's like we're blowing them away, and we're taking it to another level of what they actually even managed, what they thought it would be in their head, and we're taking it even above and beyond that. And that's what we aim to deliver. And we want to blow them away when they get to their wedding. And it's, for couples, it's the feedback they get. It's obviously they're amazed by it, but it's all the feedback that the brides and grooms are getting from their friends and family of like, wow, your wedding looked amazing, or like, you took so much pride in the details that you put into your wedding. And it's that what makes a difference, and that's something that's going to live with you forever, because it's that feedback you're going to get after the wedding. But then when you get your photos, it's another wave of it, and you think, oh wow, like, it really makes a difference when you
it was all worth it for sure. It is nice to have comments like that. So that's what's done out for me after I went quite big with my wedding styling, and I wish I'd known you at the time, but you probably would have been proud. But we had a lot of comments about like, wow, it's the best wedding we've been to. And you know what, you just like, you were like, oh, thank you, it's amazing. I'm so glad you had such a good day. But it's, it is about you as the couple, but it is also about a celebration for your family, a celebration for your friends, and you do want everyone to have a good time. It's your day, but it's everyone's day. They're sharing in that, they're putting a lot of time and effort into it to be there and to celebrate with you. So I think it's nice to give everyone a really special time. Okay, so lots of brides and grooms, couples are at home at the minute, sort of thinking about I think you've given them a lot of food for thought, thinking about their theming and changing everything after this chat. What are the top inspiration sources? Where would you suggest brides and grooms go and look to sort of start this process while they're not able to get out and about?
There's a few things. First, Pinterest is obviously a great place to start. Like, start putting together a Pinterest board. Like, don't worry if it doesn't make any sense, or things you don't feel that things just match. Just throw lots of pictures into a Pinterest board, and then when you come to me, I'll help you make sense of it, and I'll pull out all the details that you love and make it all work together. Secondly, I've created a really fun styling quiz to help brides determine kind of what their bridal style is, whether they're a romantic bride or a boho bride. So they can get that at quiz.qubeevents.co.uk. And once you filled that in, I'm going to send you loads of ideas and styling tips for your wedding. So that's quite a good place to start. Also,
I remember filling out that quiz. I've filled out that quiz. I was annoyed by my results. Turns out I'm not the bride I thought I was.
Yeah.
I think it varies depending on my mood though, because I'm obviously looking at lots of different styles all the time, and I must have just been having an off day that
yeah,
day.
I got an eclectic side. I got eclectic bride when I did it, because I like lots of weird and wacky things.
I think I got like, oh, anyway, we'll not go there.
Also on Pinterest, if you go onto the QUBE Events Pinterest page, I've created lots of boards for every different style. So a lot of the styles that we've been talking about today, there's boards on there. So that's a really great place to look for inspiration. And then on our website, there's lots of galleries of previous weddings that we've done. Also, if you're not following us, go onto our Instagram, because all of our latest work goes on Instagram, and there's some amazing pictures on there, and that's QUBE Events as well.
Great. So you're really easy to find. So yeah, there's lots of starting points there for brides and grooms. So we're talking Pinterest, your quiz, your website, your Instagram. Fab. There's lots to go at, isn't there? Yeah. What's your proudest career moment to date then, Debbie?
Oh, there's been lots, but I would say probably winning the Wedding Industry Awards. We're national winner of the Wedding Industry Awards 2 years in a row. We've won it, which is amazing. Now I'm a judge of the awards, so it's nice to be on the other side. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah, I say it's really nice to people to appreciate and get that recognition for everything that you're doing, and it's really nice thing to kind of tell brides and grooms that look, you're working with the best in the UK, and we've got these awards, so it's really nice.
Yeah. One thing you did that wasn't wedding related, did you do the debutante ball?
Yeah, so we did the Queen Charlotte's Ball
cool.
in London, which we've done a few times now. So we're the official stylist of the London season, which is the organisation that runs the Queen Charlotte's Ball. So yeah, it was a complete experience, and first time we did it, we actually got to be a guest at the ball as well. I sat on the tables, and it's a whole bizarre experience of having kind of like these 17-year-olds in wedding dresses, kind of walking down the middle of the room, and there's lots of traditions, and it's fascinating to watch it. But yeah, we got quite a lot of media coverage off the back of that, and it was in the Daily Mail and all sorts. So yeah, it was really nice to be involved and honoured really to that kind of, they reached out to us to be able to provide decor for them.
Yeah, that's a really big one. I mean, if anyone is a fan of kind of like Pride and Prejudice, Downton Abbey, that sort of thing, it's that sort of high society
exactly
that you don't imagine goes on now. I mean,
it's like it's another
to be able to style that is that is an accolade to your abilities for sure.
Yeah, I got to meet Darcy Bustle.
Sorry,
the last one I did, I got to meet Darcy Bustle when I did it. Her daughter was a debutante.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So if you were getting married tomorrow, this is such a hard question for you. If you were getting married tomorrow, okay, not tomorrow because we're not allowed to get married, but in theory, if you were getting married, what styling would you pick?
That's a hard question.
Really hard.
You know what I would choose? I'm a big fan of hot pink. And I actually did have hot pink for my wedding, but I'll do it completely differently now. But hot pink and gold, I'm really over the top in terms of like lots of flowing orchids, lots of cold candles, maybe gold mirrored tabletop. So it's really bright and vibrant. I think maybe that would, I'm actually planning my daughter's wedding right now. Well, I'm not planning, she's only 10, but I'm planning it in my head.
Do you know what I like what you do sometimes? You know, like if you take like a tropical leaf and you spray it.
Yeah.
Like I've seen you do that for 50 Stories in Manchester. You sprayed their stand with gold and you did all tropical leaf. That would be so cool in hot pink.
Yeah. To
spray the tropical leaves. It would look really good. We're going to go down the rabbit hole here.
I'll have to try that now.
Yeah, like a matte hot pink.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do a tropical wall, but having like pops of bright colours of different palm leaves going throughout it, with a big sign in the middle, and it can go down like a bit like a festival vibe, or go down like a bit of like Coachella type route, and you can have a lot of
Coachella at the moment.
Yeah, Coachella. yeah.
So where can wedding couples find you? We already mentioned, is it your website is the best place to start?
Website or Instagram is also good. Message us through Instagram. Every Wednesday we do a Wedstyle Wednesday story, which is just giving you loads of ideas for different trends, so they're always fun to follow. If you just message us on any of our social media or email us through our website, I can send you a link to book an appointment with us and get a kind of free consultation booked in. And yeah, keeping, as we're not lockdown as well, brides and grooms are keeping me entertained in lockdown, and it's really nice to have that interaction and get excited about styling weddings. So.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned off camera earlier about your shop.
Yes, so on our website we've just launched a new shop. So on our shop now we're looking at new ways that you can receive gifts for your wedding. So if you want somebody to pay towards your wedding, but you don't want them actually to give you physical money, you can suggest to them that they buy you gift vouchers for your wedding, of however you can buy them at whatever value that you want. So that's a really nice thing to do. Or it may be that you've blown your budget for the wedding, but you really wanted an amazing wishing tree, for example. So you can say to your friends, you know what, group together, buy me some vouchers and I can spend it. I really want this wishing tree for my wedding, or a dance floor, or some nice to have that had to be slashed from your budget. It is a really nice way of doing that. And also what we've done is, especially for brides and grooms who may want to get married in short notice, or you just want a most amazing wedding but you kind of want to leave it to the professionals to make it happen, we put together a few different packages that you can just say, here you go, this is what I want. We put some examples together of what we know works really, really nicely for a wedding and is going to give you the wow factor. You can just go online, book that, and your wedding styling is done, and then we just turn up on the day with it.
That's really cool. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, and you can choose what kind of season you want for the wedding. So we'll put our own touches on it depending on when your wedding is as well.
Yeah, and I can imagine that you do a really good job, no matter what sort of level people are buying in with you. Yeah. Oh, Debbie, that's been fantastic. I mean, I'm sure that everyone's scratching their heads, got so much to think about now. I'm going to go away and plan my 40th because I'm already married. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing all your amazing ideas.
Thank you so much for having us. We love working with you, and we love working with you. And I'm constantly thinking of new ideas for photo shoots in my head. Like I go to bed thinking of ideas for photo shoots. I think, I've got to tell Julia that, and it's just I'm constantly thinking about things.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, the next issue for Unveiled then is going to be, well, it's always going to be bigger and better than ever because it always is. But we are planning hard behind the scenes here. So much going into the thought process at the moment. So yeah, I can't wait to work with you on that.